Hi, everyone. We are here for Rare Disease Day 2025. I'm Patrick with Team Red Shirts here, and we have Linda with us, who is our special guest today. Wonderful person and the mother of our former friend, of course, Frank, who we just lost last year. Linda, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to come speak with us. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, first of all, I'm going to introduce some other guys here, Team Red Shirts. We got Spencer and Ronnie J. And of course, Chris, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the guy who helps put on Rare Disease Day for us. And all of us here are friends of Frank's. We all got to spend a lot of years playing games and talking with him on a day to day basis. First of all, Linda, can you tell us a little bit about what your day to day life was with Frank, and what was that like being his mom?
Rough?
Rough.
Yes. Because from what I know, listening to y'all, from how he was with you, he was a totally different person with us. Stubborn, hard headed, you know, when he was younger, he always complained his chest hurt, back when he was younger. And, we thought, of course, he was just trying to get out of chores, you know. And then when, we found out that I had Danins and had all the boys tested, then we realized now we know why he complained his chest hurt when he was younger. But still, nobody knew back then, if we even took him to the doctors, they still wouldn't know, he had this genetic disease.
Yeah, and that's a similar situation to Chris when he was growing up. And Chris, I'm sure you can speak on that a little bit. When you used to go to the doctors and they didn't know what was wrong with you as well. You want to speak about that, Chris?
I think it's something that people with rare conditions do deal with on a regular basis. I mean, I was diagnosed with my rare condition when I was 3 years old, so a lot of times they knew what I was doing, but what was wrong with me. But yeah, it's a when you don't have a diagnosis and you're just getting sick a lot, it's rough. We've met a lot of people today who have dealt with that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put you two back up on the screen because RJ.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're
So
good.
just keep interviewing. Doing a good job, man.
All right. So, this was something that was pretty sudden, I would say, in the last year and a half when we found out Frank had his condition, and he was open with all of us after you found out,
Yeah,
getting your
I've
testing
had
done.
it for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's kept it from y'all for a while because he knew.
Understandably so, yeah.
Yeah, he knew pretty much after I knew, because as soon as they found out I had it, they automatically said we need to get the boys in here and get them tested.
Mm-hmm. And was that a hard process for you, finding out, first of all, that you had it, and then that potentially your kids might have it?
Yes, it was hard. Really, it was hard. I mean, two out of the four of my boys have the genetic disease. So if you want to think about how weird it is, the two outside boys have it. My two inside boys don't have it and don't carry it.
That's pretty crazy.
And
Um,
Frankie has ADHD and the intellectual disability,
mhm.
and his younger brother has the same thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and first of all, can you go through your process of what you had to deal with when you found out just yourself when you had the condition, and what that was like?
How do I found out was I had to go from a regular checkup, And like my doctor, my primary care is like, have you ever been diagnosed with any cardiac conditions? I said, well, yeah, right bundle branch block. So she sent me to the cardiologist, and he's like, your EKG's not right. Okay, I'm gonna do more testing, which would then it was MRI with contrast, no, with contrast, no contrast, CTs with contrast, no contrast. Then I had the nuclear scan, and he's like, I don't know what's wrong with you. So, he sent my stuff off to somebody in New York and came back with non-combatant cardiomyopathy. And he goes, just to be curious, I'm going to run this genetic test on you just to see what's going to come back. Well, lo and behold, this very super rare genetic disease came back. So with that, I'm worse off than Frankie was. I'm trying to get a heart transplant, which working with the UVA has been very hard
Mm-hmm.
because they have very strict like guidelines, and like at least like my balance is off, because I'm having issues with my knees and stuff. So when you go down there to do like, it's called a 6-minute walk test, my balance is all over the place, so I can't pass that. Um, I'm, lately, I've this past couple days ago, I retained fluid for no reason and had to take extra water pills. Um, doing stuff around the house gets me exhausted very easily. So it's not been easy for me.
Yeah, and I know just from what Frank would tell us, and like you were saying, his wasn't as bad as yours. That was even rough on him at his age, and I can't even imagine what you're going through now
Yeah.
at that level. Especially, with you being at a spot in your life now, you're a little bit older, you're dealing with
Yeah.
the same thing. I can't imagine what that's got to be like. And
And
then
I
on
have,
top of that, you're trying to build up your muscular strength so you can do all those tests, and you're only kind of limited with what you can do.
yeah, because of Dannon's, that's what he told my knee
Mhm.
doctor. I said, there's no guarantee when you send me to physical therapy, I will get stronger.
Yeah, if
Because,
anything, you might plateau or get worse. You never can tell.
well, like Alex, when Alex, had the trial, I don't know if Frankie told you he lost all muscle when
He
Alex had
had
the
he had
trial.
not told me, but I think it was Zach or the other Zach had told me. But he specific. I think what it was is he didn't want to scare any of us here because we were
Yeah.
some of his guys we used to talk to every day. I think he was just really kind of scared to tell us how bad things were truly getting.
When
And
with the trial,
and
with
he,
the trial, it's like a trial and error.
hmm
So some people would be okay. Some people might have reactions. Some might have bad reactions. Well, so like Alex, his liver enzymes skyrocketed. So the treatment for that was very super high doses of steroids. So that made him lose all his muscle control.
yeah.
So he had to go to physical therapy. So he did get a little bit stronger than he was when he was with physical therapy, but not much.
hmm
But yeah,
Um, and I can't even begin to imagine what that was like for you because I know Frank had said you guys were regularly going to spend time with him in the hospital, kind of rotating out and stuff like that.
yeah, I had to
And
come back here and do a little. I had to get an MRI on my elbow because I fell and tore my LCL and my elbow had to have surgery.
Ow.
So William had to come up to Philadelphia and take care of Alex.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, they were rotating him and Frank out at opposite times, correct?
Well, Frankie was up there trying to get ready for the trial, but every time Frankie was up there to get ready for the trial, somebody in the trial somewhere would have a bad reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to put the trial on completely stop.
Yeah, and that's what he was telling us about. What he did tell us was they were constantly putting him in a hold, and he was just kind of like, I don't know when it's going to start back. He said, I'm just kind of waiting to see what they're going to
And
say.
that was what he
research
was
goes.
waiting this last time. Somebody again had a very bad reaction and just got the clear that he was going to start in January.
Wow, so he was that soon. It would have been like another 2 months, and he would have been good to go.
He was supposed to start back up in January.
Now, I know he was on the schedule. I think he had told me he was on schedule to get a pacemaker, right?
No, because he finally decided to get a pacemaker after his last hospital stay. He decided to get one because of the scare and the new symptoms.
Yeah.
He finally decided to get one, and the day he passed away, our heart failure doctor personally called me, because the sheriff has to call him and make sure he's going to sign off on his death certificate. And he goes, when Frankie come in for his hospital follow-up, I was going to twist his arm to get his pacemaker because, he had gotten worse.
Yeah.
I said he was ready to get it because of all the, symptoms that he had been having.
However, begrudgingly, I know, because I think it was like I had talked to him like 2 or 3 days before he passed, and he was going through all the reference material while I was sitting there talking with him, and he's like, I don't know about this. I don't know. But we all know he was going to get it one way or another. He was, even if he didn't want to do it, I think he was more scared of the surgery than the actual pacemaker itself.
Yeah, and that's what it is with him and like having the intellectual disability and stuff. He just gets afraid of anything new, and it just takes convincing, just like his younger brother. When we had to take him for the trial, it took coaxing and everything to get him used to, drawing blood because he never had blood drawn, MRIs and what was the ultrasound? He never had an ultrasound. So my husband actually he went dead stiff on my husband and actually literally had to drag him into the ultrasound room to get an ultrasound.
Oh my gosh.
And that tells you how, intellectual disability and stuff affects people that as doesn't have anything done, how scared they get. So Frankie seeing Alex go through the trial, that didn't help either.
No, definitely not.
Because it was making him scared because after he saw what happened to Alex, that didn't help.
It also didn't help very much because Frank was just one of those guys. He was just stubborn to be stubborn anyways.
Yes.
As many of us here can attest to on many of occasions.
Yes.
Speaking on that real quick, we should have a chance to go around here and maybe do you guys want to say a few words to Linda about some funny moments we had with Frank or anything like that you guys want to talk about real quick? Just from, gaming or hanging out with him or anything? You got audio levels on everybody, Chris? All right, Spencer, you can go ahead and start.
He was a good friend for several years, and one of the things that's been the biggest for me is that one of the games that we'd always play together, particularly me, Frank, and Patrick here, we'd always play this game called Sea of Thieves that you may have
Yeah,
heard
I've
him
heard
talk
of it.
about a bit. Yeah, and so anyway, it's because of Frank of why I really got into that game, and it's been so many fond memories of just playing with the three of us, and it's just hard for me to like go back to that game now without him
I
here.
haven't been able to play it since.
And so I don't know. There's that, and then there's another big game that me and Chris would play with him, and I would assume that's what Chris would bring up. So if you want to talk about that one. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, especially me.
Ronnie, did you have anything you
And
want
wait,
to?
nobody on stream
yeah.
heard
Yeah,
that because I was
yeah.
muted. Forewarned.
Miss
Go be
Linda,
forewarned. I was
Okay.
No,
muted
I'm not
in the
muted.
stream. I was muted in the stream, is what I was saying.
Miss
Oh,
Linda, I'm Jay. It's an honor to meet you, ma'am. And I've been me and Gann and Spencer's been knowing Frank for ever since during when we doing Kilo Custom Squad several years later,
Geez, it was like
several
5
years
or 6
ago,
years ago.
5-6 years ago, and for the first time I met him, I always thought he was a little bit like a. He's kind of, and to my thought, it's like he's one weird looking kid as far as I know. But I mean, but let me tell you this here, man.
You're
I
weird looking
really
too,
had
though,
a
RJ.
great joyful time with him, and he always loved his truck simulator games, and
Euro truck, yeah.
I still have a couple of. I was doing my streams, and he came on there, and me and him talked, looked up a little bit of this and there, and then and him and Gannon gets like I still have that on my stream, and said that that's Captain Frank. That's Captain Frank to you.
Oh yeah, his logo for Twitch was him as a pilot.
But
So he's Captain
there
Frank.
hits it off, and he hates it when we call out Spencer and it's almost like Beetlejuice and say dingus, 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 and he said, "Stop saying that."
Because then Spencer will just appear
Spencer would just appear out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. So,
Yes.
some fun stuff.
Yes.
Playing games
And,
with mummies. Playing,
But it's always great to know with Frank, and I mean, he always loved the talk about the Nintendos and everything, and without Frank, I mean, I don't know any other discussions that I could share with and everything there, Miss Linda. I mean, but when I heard that he passed and everything, that just took a big blow to. I mean, that took a real big blow, and I was like, "What? No way!" Because I remember that he was on there on my stream, and he was hunky dory. He was fine, but all of a sudden, when he died, it's like, oh my gosh, that just blew me away. I don't know why that.
Well,
that really
Ronnie
got me upset.
Rare
I mean,
disease. That's what rare
took a
diseases can
big
do.
blow.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
rare
like,
diseases can do, Robbie.
oh man.
It's what, and that's the thing. That's why we're
But
here.
although,
That's why we're
now,
raising
but
RJ.
I mean, ma'am, I just want to say I'm truly am sorry
Thank you.
that it.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah. That's
but
what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I always, I mean, I always like that kid there. You know, he was brave. I mean,
Yeah.
he took
Everyone with
that
a rare disease is
fight
brave,
head on,
so,
and
yeah.
he wow.
Everyone with a rare disease
But you know,
is
I
brave.
always enjoyed him and doing Seeds of Thieves and everything, and between him and Daniel Spencer, who's trying to catch the biggest fish. I remember.
Oh, fishing and Sea of Thieves.
I saw that on Twitch.
So there was a time we
oh
played
my
Sea of
gosh,
Thieves,
who's
and I
gonna
think we were in the
catch
middle of a
biggest fish?
storm,
wonder who's
and I was
gonna
like,
be.
Frank, what are you doing? And
Oh my goodness, my.
I was like, Frank, what are you
But
doing?
there's only one thing though, there, Ms. Linda. I want to ask you this question here, though, with you there. But did Frank ever had any some good days where he just feels like he has like nothing bothering him, nothing and everything? He's like he feel like he's want to do something.
He had good days. The day before he died, there was nothing wrong with him.
That's the crazy thing about
There was,
having a rare
you know,
disease.
he was over here. He was playing his he went over there to play his computer. I went that morning to go get him so we can go fish shopping because he wanted to go to, the local store that we went to because they were having Black Friday sales. And
That's right. It was Black Friday.
Oh my
Yep.
God, yeah,
Mhm.
it was.
And
Yeah.
that's when I found him dead.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. But but like I said though, I mean it's one thing that with Frank and everything, he always loved to play on his Xbox and everything, and but also I want to ask also there's something that came on my mind as well, but what are you going to do with his room and everything? You want to just leave it the way it is, or
Right now, it's the way it is in his room because his younger brother goes in there and plays, and he likes playing his trucking simulator right now. So he goes in there and drives his trucks. So far, he doesn't want to play any of the airplane stuff, but he likes driving the trucks. And he had one of his friends over, and his friend started crashing Frankie's trucks, and he was getting very mad at him because he was crashing Frankie's trucks. So he's very protective of Frankie's stuff. Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
I could probably understand that. I got a best friend myself who died this couple months ago. He died of cancer, and he gave me some of his stuff, and that he gave me, and I've been trying to doing very protective on that as well, and so I know how that feels. And but I cannot imagine the trauma and the emotional pain that you must have felt when he died. I can't imagine that. Nobody can. Nobody. But nobody can feel that pain. Cause I mean, I can't even feel that pain. I mean, I always remember this here though. It's easy for a child to lose a parent, but it's never easy for a parent to lose a child.
And
that is a total different.
Yeah, and this is my second child that I have lost.
Oh my
I had a stillborn at 36 weeks, which was a girl. And really, technically, they never found out why I lost her.
Same thing happened
So-
with my mom. My mom miscarried. Would have been my older sister.
So it would have been Frankie's. It
same
would
thing
have
as
been
my
Frankie's
mom.
It would have been Frankie's older sister.
Yeah, my mother, she had a miscarriage, and I would have had an older brother, an oldest brother.
Yeah.
And she,
So I know how that is. So, but I mean, Miss Linda, it's I wish there was more that maybe that I can do, but that I could be able to help, but it's very hard for me to help out. But I'll tell you this here though, we will on my streams and everything, I will do I'll do like memorial stuff, and also I would I'll always put a little memo, with Frank and everything, to get his story out, and like we all
Yeah.
do, we will get his story.
and because y'all want to hear
So-
something is the weird part or the bad part, because he was in the hospital.
Yeah.
The other heart failure doctor, which we had never met, saw him in the hospital, kept him that one night, and sent him home. So 11 days since he was in the hospital, that's when he passed away. If our doctor was there on call that weekend, Frankie would still be alive.
No doubt. No doubt.
No doubt about it. No doubt
Because
about
he
it.
would have made Frankie get his ICD, and Frankie still would be living right now.
And it probably would have been a very
Yeah.
fast procedure, like emergency procedure that week. I would
It
imagine.
would have been.
Too. Yeah.
And so right
would've
now
gone right
we
up.
are looking into a lawsuit.
Which obviously I know
that's
you don't want to
interesting.
talk about
yeah,
that.
no, we won't. We
lawyers
can't
and all
talk
that.
about that. Nope.
No.
Not talking about
No,
that.
no.
But
RJ,
it's bad
calm down, man.
because if our cardiologist was on call, it's sad that he would still be here.
Yeah.
The hard
Yeah.
thing about it is that people with rare conditions often, like you said, Frank hid it from us for a while, and that's what people with rare conditions do, unfortunately, especially males. They've shown
Yeah.
that males. I'm
Yeah,
like one of the total only males I know that are really like open about my disease.
Yeah, because his age was with this disease. Most males live to 19.
Yeah, exactly.
So
The fact that
And like
he
we
made it
always keep saying on
23,
our
yeah.
streams that he made it to 23. So the thing we
Yeah.
always say around here is Frank beat the odds.
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
always keep saying over and over again is Frank
Yeah.
beat the odds.
That's true.
So that's at least
Yeah.
one good thing. It's a good memory to remember him for. Is yes, he ultimately beat the odds.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to remember him for. Now for me, I got to see and pretty much talk to him almost every single day. You've heard my voice in his
Yeah, I
bedroom.
heard
I'm
your
sure
voice,
way
yeah.
many times. You've heard me talking with him and Zach and Dustin and all the crazy guys over there playing Flight Simulator. And the thing I told the guys about when we did the memorial stream, I think it was the day or two right after he passed. I don't remember specifically which day it was. I want to say it was November 30th. Yeah, November 30th.
November 30th.
But yeah, the thing I found out. No, I was on with him that night. It was Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. And he was playing flight sim. I want to say he was flying into Hawaii in the simulator, I think. And the funniest thing happened. He was celebrating how good his landing was in the sim. Like it was one of those like landings that was like so smooth you barely feel it. And he was like, "Yes!" So I always tell everybody, I was like, if that was his last one he ever did in Flight Simulator, hey, he wins in my book. So I always brag on him about that. I was like, yeah, Frank, yeah, his last flight, yeah, he did really good on that landing. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up? Any other stories, Chris or Spencer? Anything you guys can think of?
I don't really have anything right off the bat. No.
No,
At least
I
not
don't.
anything that's already been said.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't have anything either really, except for maybe, I think Frank and I, when he finally opened up that he had a rare disease, I think he felt really comfortable talking to me about it because he knew I had a rare condition, and so that's, I think, that's something that connected Frank and I a lot. It was the fact that we both had rare conditions, and he always was telling me that about the trials and how he had to go up there and what was going on with it medically. He always talked to me about the medical stuff, and so when I heard he passed, that was hard.
Yeah, and what was I going to speak about? So the reason we had you come on today, and this is something Chris and I had been talking about pretty much about 1 year ago, last Rare Disease Day, we were absolutely 100% going to schedule Frank in for an interview this year. Everything was planned. Frank was going to be here this year. And after he passed, I mean, what better way than to have you with us instead in his place?
Yeah, I tried to get him on last year, and I don't think he was ready to talk about it. I don't.
Yeah, I've got a shirt on that says Rare Disease Day by Dannon Foundation.
Awesome. Good.
They finally made some shirts and sweatshirts.
Good.
And stuff finally.
Good. Yeah, we started doing that for FMF and AID. I'm wearing one of the shirts today. So.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's important. It's a great way to get awareness out. You're a walking billboard of awareness. It's fantastic. Yeah. But yeah, I think I tried to get both Spencer and Patrick to wrangle him last year, if I remember.
We tried.
And
I think he was more. Frank was one of those guys. He just wanted to play games to help us raise money for charity. And so he was more into doing that as like just jumping in and playing games with us and doing that side of it, which he was more than down for. You could always invite him to any game. You could always tell him like, hey, download this game. We're going to be playing this one tonight. And he'd be like, all right, I'm down. I'm coming. And he would show up pretty much for all of them. Anytime we wanted to do something, he would always show up. He jumped in a few sessions of us. What was it with Jackbox Party Pack?
Jackbox.
Hey, kill it.
Jackbox, Fortnite. I know Spencer and him always love playing Fortnite together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Mine too. Don't worry. Mine too. Their mommy's home, so they're excited.
Well, remember we have Frankie's dog now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then we have our own dog. So anything they hear now, they bark at. But yeah, we have Frankie's dog, Jake, now. Aww. That we take care of. So.
Yeah, he was always talking about Jake with us on a day-to-day basis, like.
Yeah.
What the dog was up to when he had to take the dog outside. Yeah, never heard any bad things about him.
Yeah, he's a very good dog. No, our dog is a nut.
Nothing wrong with a few nut dogs.
Yeah.
Same thing as my sister's dog here. He's a mutt and he's a nut.
Now, since you're here for Rare Disease Day, supporting Frank's memory, did you want to tell us a little bit about who you're helping raise money for this year?
So with the Dannons, do y'all even understand anything much about it yet? Or y'all still don't understand much about it?
We're still always learning, kind of as you guys are learning, and what we've been, finding on the internet, and based on what Frank was telling us about,
what's interesting.
As he was learning.
What's interesting about it is, the term cardiomyopathy comes up a lot when you look it up, and my Great Dane puppy last fall actually passed, not last fall before last, passed overnight from dilated cardiomyopathy. So when I looked it up and I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, his heart wasn't able to pump blood properly, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. But it's, it starts with your genetics, which
Yeah, you have a marker that controls
it's a lamp.
that.
They call it like a LAMP2 gene
Okay.
marker that
Yep.
starts all this rare genetic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, ours is MEFV, so I understand. Yeah.
And of course, then it mainly affects your heart, your muscles, your eyes. But Frankie's eyes didn't really affect Frankie's eyes.
Yeah, he still had good vision.
My eyes, it has now moved into the center of my eyes, and my right eye has moved into the center of my right eye. So like the sunlight bothers me a lot. It of course affects your kidneys, your liver, and your everything. So slowly but surely it just attacks everything in your body.
Okay.
I mean, I just had my gallbladder out, but we don't know if it was from the Danons or if it was from the weight loss medicine that I was taking. Because I had gallstones and like a bunch of sludge in my gallbladder.
That's what happened to my girlfriend. She had to get hers taken out like over a year ago. And
I do have elevated liver enzymes that I'm now going to have to go to a doctor for my liver. And I'm at right now like stage 3 kidney right now.
Stage 3 kidney failure?
Yes.
Oh my. We lost you on your camera. Something's blocking the camera.
Oh, there we go.
No, you're good. You're good.
Good. And in the middle of this interview, while we're giving this interview and it's being recorded as well, we just got a $100 donation.
Hey!
We got Vicky Gomez. So we had a Victoria before, and now a Vicky Gomez. So thank you so much, Vicky.
That's awesome.
Let me
Thank
see
you,
if there was a
Oh,
message
wow.
with the donation or not, or if it was just a donation. Man, this interview's already gotten me emotional. Now money's starting to come in, and
Yep.
That was like when Frankie passed away. My godparents, they donated money to the Children's Hospital
oh, okay.
that Frankie
Yeah.
went to and Alex went to, because the doctor there does the gene therapy trial for Danon. So which was nice of him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gene therapy is so dangerous. They've actually looked into it for autoinflammatory and familial Mediterranean fever, and the trial patients were getting leukemia.
Yeah, I mean, this is the
So-
second phase of it.
Okay.
So I mean, because you don't know what you're getting into when you do these
Absolutely not.
trials.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely experimental for sure.
Yes.
Was there any message attached to that
Just
dono
said
at all?
thank you.
So thank you. All
Just
right.
said thank you.
Well, thank you, Vicky Gomez.
Yeah, thank you, Vicky Gomez.
Now, have you actually had any donations come in today for Danon's Foundation on your behalf?
No.
Not yet. Okay. Well, we will find a way to get you something today. We'll do it in Frankie's honor. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I agree.
Where there's a will, there's a way. We always make it happen.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is now showing.
So what's our total now?
We are at, I'm about to bring it up, $700.03.
There we go.
Someone please donate $99.97 or something and 97 cents. Even if it's $1.97, people. I prefer $99.97 from someone, but sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it myself, damn it. That'd be petty. I could do it if I wanted to, but that'd be petty.
Yeah.
So we're having fun on this
too. I
interview,
could
guys.
do it.
Love
I mean, I could.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man.
Well, Patrick will walk you through it after the interview.
Yeah. So
If you want to do it.
So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Considering that Frank was supposed to be here, and in a way, I kind of like from beyond the veil. I'm kind of like, darn it, you weren't here, buddy. But understandably so, because we all know he, like, if he could, he would be here right now. He really would.
And I miss him. I mean, there's been times like little things lately. You know, he always would call me if I was in the car, you know, just to talk to me, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been, you know, been missing that. You know, I miss like him calling any one of y'all, you know, when I'm in the car with one of y'all and him talking to y'all in the car. I'm like, I don't have that anymore.
No. And I've told these guys, it's the hardest thing has been for me because I talk to him almost every day. I would always jump on Flight Sim at the most random times. And if you know anything about Frank, is he had no sleep schedule. If he
had no sleep schedule.
If he wanted to sleep, he could sleep whenever he want to, basically, for the most part. But I'm sure you probably put pressure on him, tell him to go to bed a few times, right?
But we tried to, because
but he would never listen.
The Dannons makes you tired as it is.
Yeah.
We try to tell him, make sure you get your sleep.
But I can't tell you how many mornings I'd be up at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning, and he'd be up and all chipper, and I'd be like barely woken up, and I'd be like taking off on my plane. The sun hadn't even come up in the simulator. Yeah, it was completely dark, and there was Frank, all happy, cheery, 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and it's been really hard for me because he was always on there all the time. I mean, I could literally jump on. I wouldn't even have my Xbox turned on for 2 minutes, and he'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Dang, man, you are fast. You are so fast."
Stalking you. It's because he had the notifications on his phone. You know that, right?
Yeah. Call my parents like at that time in the morning, because my dad is always up at 5:30 in the morning. You know, I'm like, I'm still in bed at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And yeah, the hardest thing it's been for me is because he talked to me almost every day. At any time I was, doing my flights, it was always good just to have somebody to chat with when you're doing, especially the longer flights in the simulator. Oh my gosh, you get bored doing this 4, 5, 6, 7 hour ones. I'm just sitting here watching my plane fly. So it was kind of nice having somebody to talk to, several hours in the day and just catch up and all that. And it was really weird. It's been an adjustment period for a lot of us, especially like me and Zach. It's like all of a sudden he's just not there anymore to talk.
Yeah.
And it's beyond hard. There were so many times, even I'd be, streaming a flight or something for the guys over here at Red Shirts, and Frank would pop on stream. He, had no problem jumping on and chatting, and everybody in the stream could hear his voice too. So that was always cool. They got to interact with him on the live streams. And now it's just me. That's it. It's just me now.
Yeah.
Unless one of these guys pops in and chats with me. But generally, yeah, it's such a weird adjustment going from playing, that's like the single player stuff where you can at least still talk to somebody, and now it's just back to you again, and just you. And so normally Frank was one of those guys that would be great. He would fill in the gaps. Like if I'd stop talking, he would normally have something to say to fill the dead air. And now it's just dead air again, and so now I have to become creative again to fill. So Chris will attest to this, because Chris is always like, "Why aren't you entertaining?"
Yeah, exactly. That's the producer in me. I can't help it.
He can't help it, and a lot of that came down to Frank just being in there. He was always good about helping keep the discussion flowing, and so it's all kind of been an adjustment for all of us, because we don't
Until
have that
the
anymore.
Xbox party would screw up and you couldn't.
Yeah,
You had to recheck
yeah.
the box and not realize
Recheck
you had to
the
recheck the
box,
box. But then, of
restart
course,
it.
Discord and Xbox integrated, and that all was fixed.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of been like a 4-month adjustment period for us still, and learning how to talk again in a weird sort of way.
Me use words.
Use words.
So,
So yeah, we're gonna miss him. He was a really good guy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to add about your son, Frank?
Yeah, I mean, he was, you know, let me say, I mean, he loved me. You know, he would do anything for me. You know, so I can at least say that.
I can't tell you how many times I would hear him say, "Yes, Mom."
Yes.
But you know what? He might have huffed and puffed, but he never complained about that. He'd be
But
like,
he
"All right,
loved,
I'm
you
going to
know,
help
yeah,
Mom."
yeah, he loved me to death, and so he would do anything with me. You know.
All right, I think that's about it. If you guys want to support helping Linda out with her side of rare disease, Rare Disease Day rather, what's the best way? Is it just Dannon's Foundation they can donate?
Yeah, it says Dannon's Foundation. Yes.
And that's DANON, just one N in the middle. Dannon's Foundation, and we'll get that link in the chat for anybody watching on the live stream, and we'll make sure to put that up also on the description of the official video as well. So that way, if you guys want to check this out, and even after Rare Disease weekend is over, you guys can still go donate and help support the cause, and go send Linda a message saying, "Hey, I donated $5 here, $20 there." Let her know you're helping support the cause, because we want to at least try to help find a cure. That'd be great.
Yes.
that's
All right,
the goal.
any final words, Linda?
Just donate because it's a very rare disease, and they do not have a cure yet for it.
All right, thank you so much for coming on with us and taking time out of your day to help support our charity event as well. It was great, and also to highlight yours and try to get whatever help we can in Frank's memory.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Linda.
You're welcome, guys. Bye.
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 And that was